Welcome to the dispatching and flight recording overview for Flight Schedule Pro. The first thing we need to do is log in as an administrator to activate flight recording, and we do so under the company menu and system setup. And on the left we'll see flights and the preferences for the flights, and there's a checkbox that we can activate flight recording with dispatching. And below we'll see our dispatch checks, and these are the items that we can check at the time the flight is checked out or the flight is dispatched, whether it be aircraft requirements or pilot information in the pilot record, aircraft maintenance items, the reminders that we have set up, squawks, information on the times, our propeller, and then we have a setting that determines what happens if any of these checks fail. So do we want to allow the dispatch to go through, or do we want to stop it at that point to resolve the issue? And as an administrator, we have the ability to override these checks if there's an error. However, most of your staff shouldn't have the ability to do that. And most of your staff shouldn't be administrators. You should just have one or two. So what you'll need to do is decide how you want to check and what you want to check at the time the flight is dispatched. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And first thing we'll do is log out and log back in so that we can see the new flights menu that shows up once we have this activated. And when I come here, the first thing I see is unused reservations. And any reservation in the system, once flight recording and dispatching is activated, we can create a flight record from that reservation. So these are actual reservations waiting to be dispatched in the system. And we can see that Jennifer Candor has a Piper reservation with Sam, and we can dispatch this flight. We could edit the reservation, and we could possibly cancel the reservation. I'm going to go ahead and dispatch it, and it pulls up the current time on the aircraft, Hobbs and tack. We could change the aircraft if we wanted to. We can also edit who the customer is if for some reason we need to, and the instructor review the flight details and comments. I'm going to go ahead and check out this flight. And what we'll see here is that there's a few of our checks that have failed. So the pilot doesn't have a current medical certificate, the flight review hasn't been completed, and our instructor also fails those two issues, and we have a groundable squawk on the aircraft. Now, as an administrator, we have the ability to override this, and I'm going to do so for demonstration purposes. When I override that, it says your flight has been checked out successfully. Here's your flight ticket. And this flight ticket can be printed. It shows some of the pilot's information and shows some of the aircraft information and gives you the place where you can record information. This sheet would generally be taken on the flight, and those details would be recorded. As long as you have some form of bringing the information back to Flight Schedule Pro so that it can be updated. So right now we have a checked out flight. I'm going to return to the flights menu, and if we go to checked out, we can see that this is a flight that's currently out, and we could check in that flight. We could print the flight ticket again if we needed to. I'm going to go ahead and check it in, and we would have our sheet, and we can record the ending times, and it'll calculate the totals for us. That's a little bit long, 5003. It shows our totals there. Potentially enter a reference number such as an invoice number. We can enter number of instruction hours to keep a running total. We can update the pilot information, some more details about the flight. Was our pilot currency check that we set up, has that been satisfied? Has there any new checkouts that we need to record? And the neat thing about this is when we're checking in this flight, we're updating the pilot. We're also updating the aircraft. Are there any new squawks? Do any of them down the aircraft? So that when this flight's checked in, to the best of the information we have in the system, we've updated the aircraft. Now the time on the aircraft is current. The pilot record has been updated with the date of the last flight. We're going to add this hour to the total flight time of the pilot. The instructor accumulates another hour, and we can report on those. So I'm going to go ahead and check in this flight. We can print a completed flight ticket that shows us our totals if we want to file that in paper form. And if I return back to flights, I can go to completed flights, and it shows us our reservation that we completed with Jennifer here, and we have successfully completed a flight. To generate reports, I can go to the reporting section, and we have a flight hour summary report that shows the details. So if we want to find out how much did this aircraft fly today or this week, how many hours has this instructor accumulated, possibly for payroll purposes, gives you good visibility on activity. Now, something you can also do is check reservations out right from the schedule. So any of these appointments that we need to click on to check them out, if we wanted to check out Jill's reservation, we can click on the schedule, and since we have dispatching activated, we have a new checkout button. So that same process we went through, we can do that right from the schedule as well. The flights menu really just gives us good visibility on flights and what's been completed, what's currently checked out, and what are the upcoming reservations. So that really gives a good overview of flight recording and dispatching in Flight Schedule Pro.